So I shot this entire video, realized I had to put the sound on manual for an external microphone, not turn it back on, and the levels were really low. So it's going to be a short video because I just don't want to go through what I've done before. But so people ask me all the time, you know, what time I go to bed, what time I wake up, because I am up very early. Commonly I'm up between 3:30 and 4:30 every day. I don't set an alarm, it's just what happens. I love the mornings. I don't know if it's picking up the cacophony of bird sounds outside. So about 4:45, the birds started going crazy and they're just making a ton of noise. But in any case, I'll try and focus on this. So one of the things that I try and do is kind of redeem my mornings that are early when I'm having some coffee. So the first thing I do is I get up and I get my coffee and I sit down and I try and spend 15 minutes a day learning something. And I'm going to grab something over here because I actually have the numbers here that matter of what it turns out, you know, kind of what I gain from a learning standpoint, spending 15 minutes a day, okay? Alright, so I wrote this down. So, and what I'll learn are all kinds of things. This morning I actually had to go through a technology tutorial because I'm trying to figure out a problem to a program I'm writing. But a lot of times it's been photography, and since that's something new that I'm really trying to learn. Cinematography, I just really enjoy learning really how to shoot different interesting camera angles and things like B-roll, and just understanding the process. I hope to do something with it. I've done some intros to some of the videos I'm creating. Nothing overly fancy, but just things I want to experiment with. So, and at some point do a music video. So I've already started scripting out a couple things, and hopefully we'll get around to that. I'll get some help with that from my daughter and her husband, since he is really a nice photographer and does great video. But either way, so that's one of my goals. So I learn things like that. I learn things about history. There's some channels I watch that are just, you know, could be about that, or some science, you know, some videos on science, any number of things. I think we watched an entire video series on the skin, and I just like putting information into my brain, right? So that's what I do almost every morning. But I kind of put the numbers together, and I was like, well, let's see, if we spend 15 minutes a day, and we only get 5 days a week, not 7 days. Now I probably do 6 or 7 days a week that I spend some time learning something almost every day, 365 days a year, but I'm just gonna, for the numbers, 5 days a week. That's 75 minutes of learning every week, 75 extra minutes. Let's see what that adds up to. Well, if I just did it for 50 weeks out of the year, let's say I took 2 weeks off for vacation. Now I can tell you, Christmas morning, my birthday, New Year's morning, I'm still up early. I don't drink, and so I don't have a problem waking up in the morning, never hungover. You know, I don't watch TV at night. I mean, everybody's watching Game of Thrones right now, and I've seen segments of it, and it looks awesome, and I'm sure I would totally love it. I have nothing against that. I just have other things I'm trying to do and learn and prioritize. But anyway, so 50 weeks out of the year. That's 3,750 minutes of learning time. That's a lot. That's 62 and a half hours. 62 and a half hours. Once again, you know, pretty good time. It's over a week, a working week of learning that I'm adding. And in 5 years, that's 312 and a half hours. In 5 years, you've spent 312 and a half hours. And I kind of liken it to going to college. I just like stuffing new information in my brain. I always have. A lot of times it's in the form of video. YouTube is an amazing resource. Other times it's reading. One thing I can tell you I'd like to do is when I get on a YouTube video that is instructing me on camera techniques, for instance. You can go into your video down in the right hand corner where the gear is. You can set the speed to 1.25 or 1.5. So I might be taking a 15-minute video and turning it into 10 minutes and just kind of cramming my brain. with information. But what I do is if I hear something really interesting or I want to understand better, I'll slow it down and go back to that part and just kind of replay it at its regular speed. That's one of the benefits of learning this way. It's not a lecture that you're taking notes and you might miss something and didn't get it written down. You actually can go back and just view it again. You can save the URL and go back and say, that's something I really want to understand, so I want to reference that, which I do a lot of. But once again, you can speed up the videos to kind of get past parts that maybe you already know or aren't as technically necessary or complicated, and then go back and just reference those parts that you really need to understand a little more slowly. So that's what I do early in the mornings. That's my process. Like I say, I'll go to bed at 7:30. The other day, my kids were over and my daughter was doing laundry here, and they were watching Game of Thrones, and it was like 8 o'clock or 8:15. I said, hey, you guys, I'm going to bed. Gave them all a little kiss and was heading off to bed, and they were laughing. They're going, it's only, or I think my daughter said, it's 8:15. And I said, I know, it's an hour past my bedtime. I don't know what I'm doing. So I enjoy going to bed so that I can get up really early, because mornings are some of my most creative time and when I can really absorb a lot more information. So that's my coffee. That's what I do in the morning. It's coffee and a little bit of learning. So that if you want to know the process, that's what mine is.